What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we'll do a little bit of a Sword and Shield update. People have been asking me about Evolving Skies and a few other sets. Basically every day I get questions about it, and about once a week on this channel we kind of just discuss the Sword and Shield sets, talk about what's going on. If you guys are in the spreadsheet, you can go see all the numbers from this week. The general trend though is probably a positive sign if you own Sword and Shield. I think most of these sets are moving upwards slowly. We're seeing a little bit less supply on the market week over week, and that's definitely good. Even some of the sets that are less desirable, in my opinion, like Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze, Battle Styles, some of those, there's less supply on the market. Sell-through rate was up generally across the board. Some sets were down though. I think like Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, less boxes sold this week. Evolving Skies, same deal. Fusion, Brilliant, people were targeting those more, buying those up. So it really depends on which box you're looking at. I can't give you a direct breakdown for everything. That would be a little bit too long of a video in my opinion, but everything's looking good. But I guess we'll just go over every set and I'll give you guys a brief explanation of what's going on, and maybe we'll focus a little bit more on Evolving Skies because people have been asking me about that. So Sword and Shield base, pretty boring set. You guys know that I would not be investing in this, but I think the lowest listed box now on eBay is like 600 bucks. So even the people that had boxes of Sword and Shield base, they're constantly moving up the price that if someone wants to buy a box, what they're going to be paying for it. So Sword and Shield base, same deal with Rebel Clash. I think the lowest listed is getting up there to like 390, even 385, something ridiculous like that. There was one box that I did include below that, but it's from kind of like a sketchy seller. So I don't know exactly. I mean, it looks like a legit box. The photos look legit, but seller feedback wasn't great. And I really just don't know what someone's experience would be with that. But the first box from a fairly legit looking seller is almost $400 at this point on Rebel Clash. So both these boxes, they don't sell too often. You guys know that if you've been watching the videos and paying attention, but they could still consistently move up in price just because if someone buys the box, new seller lists at a higher price. For example, if that 600 one goes, next seller comes along, sees that, lists their box at like 625, that one sells, then it goes to 650, 675, etc. Now we're at $700 within a month or two period just because people refuse to take less money for it. That could happen. I'm not saying that is going to happen. I'm not saying that Rebel Clash is going to be $600 and that Sword and Shield base is going to be $800 by the end of the year. I'm not saying that, so relax. Don't go all in on these sets, but it is a possibility that could happen when you're dealing with booster boxes that don't sell too often. Now I am going to jump around a little bit here, talk about Darkness Ablaze and then also Silver Tempest at the same time. These were two sets that over the past month or two, there's been one or two fairly large sellers on eBay that made up the majority of the supply for these booster boxes below a 20% leg up. And both of those sellers this week have actually taken boxes off the market, which I thought was interesting. You guys know that sell-through rate only accounts for so much when we're looking at remaining inventory. The other factor is those sellers deciding how many boxes they actually want to list. So it seems like the general trend, in people in the hobby is that Sword and Shield boxes are going to continue to go up. Therefore, if I don't need the money, why would I be selling my boxes? If you guys live in Canada and you buy from Hobbiesville, you know they do this all the time. They'll throw up like 200 ETBs for a certain set or booster boxes, whatever. And then if they feel like market is shifting upwards, they really pay attention to what's going on. They might just drop it down to like a case and put up like 3 or 4 boxes. That kind of makes it look like it's more scarce on their site. You have to buy it now. And then they'll just move the price up 50 bucks a week later if they sell out. So it's not like this is an entirely new concept. This has been going on for a long, long time, but that is what is happening right now with Sword and Shield, at least in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing. Now, if we go jump back to Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles, these aren't super popular sets. I still don't think they're great investments long term, but both of these are actually kind of setting themselves up to move in the short term. Battle Styles, there was a decent amount of supply of this box 2 weeks ago. This week there was a lot less, and it wasn't because of the sell-through rate going up. It was because of boxes getting taken off the website. Same thing with Vivid Voltage, but I wouldn't be surprised if both of these eventually start climbing to like, Battle Styles maybe 220, 230, Vivid Voltage getting pretty close to 250, 260. I think both of those numbers could be realistic by the end of 2025. For the better alt art sets, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, Brilliant, Astral. Some of these are doing better than others. Astral, we all know, is going to be a bit slower. It doesn't sell too great. Chilling's kind of in a meh place right now if I bring this box up. It seemed like Brilliant Stars and Fusion Strike, those were the boxes people were targeting a little bit more this week, just based on what I was seeing. And there's definitely more red in the spreadsheet in terms of like days of inventory. So when there's more red, to me, that's a good sign just because that means there's less days of inventory for certain boxes left. That's the general trend that we've been following over the past 3 to 4 weeks at this point. Lost Origin, it's going to be one of those sets that starts to move first, in my opinion, maybe behind like Evolving Skies, Brilliant Fusion. That might be like the number 4 right now. But to end this video, I do want to talk about Evolving Skies a little bit more than any of these other boxes because I get questions all the time about Evolving Skies. You guys know I just bought another box of Evolving at like market price. So it was like 18.50 I think when I bought it USD when you do the conversion. And if you go to eBay right now, there's one box listed at 2,500 Canadian from a fairly small seller up here in Canada. It looks like it's coming out of Montreal, Quebec. And that's 1837, 1838 USD approximately. And after that, it jumps right up if we scroll down here on the listings. And this is North America, so it's not including Europe, other parts of the world. Next box is $2,021 or best offer. So that's 27.50 Canadian. That's the conversion right now. There's 2 boxes listed at that. If you guys keep scrolling down, you'll see it jumps after that up to $2,200. At the bottom of this, there might be a couple listings because this is what you guys need to do when you go to eBay. They go in order if you go by lowest listed, but then at a certain point, just based on how the keywords work, there's normally cheaper boxes at the bottom. So you can see here, it goes all the way up. These are cases or whatever. It gets up to $26,000. Then it drops right back down to $1,000. And if you scroll here, you can see, yeah, $2,200. So normally there might be a listing here at like $1,900, $2,000, and then it would climb back up again. And those do all get tracked in the spreadsheet. But you can see 1850, then it jumps to 2021. There's 2 boxes there. And then after that, we're right up to $2,200 on Evo Skies. And at least to me right now, it kind of just feels like Evolving Skies is a self-fulfilling prophecy. People saying that it's going to be 2,500, 3,000, 3,500. Like it just continues to climb. Boxes get put on the site. Boxes get purchased. More boxes come up, slightly higher price. They get purchased. And we're just going in this cycle constantly, week over week of Evolving Skies. There not being a lot of inventory. I think when you compare all of the Sword and Shield boxes, outside of like Sword and Shield Base and Rebel Clash, I think Evolving's normally like the lowest amount of boxes listed, below 20%. Like maybe Lost Origin this week had less boxes, but it's always in the conversation. And until we see the numbers start to change on Evolving Skies, the sell-through rate slow down, the amount of boxes listed going up, until that happens, I'm going to be quite bullish on Pokemon. I should also mention that I'm not including sealed cases that sell. At this point with Sword and Shield era, if a sealed case sells, that's kind of a different item in my opinion, just because it's not super common to come across sealed cases of Evolving or Fusion or some of these other sets. So there definitely are more boxes than just the loose ones that sell, but I'd say maybe like 1 to 2 cases per week of most of these sets sell, and then something like Evolving, maybe it's once every couple weeks that we see a case. Rebel Clash, Sword and Shield Base, and a couple other sets, it's like maybe once a year, once every 3 to 6 months. I really don't know yet, but those do not sell super often. I don't think I've actually seen a Sword and Shield base case come up yet. And if there was, it was listed at like a ridiculous price, probably like $10,000, $12,000, something like that. But that is going to be it for the video this week, guys. Same old, more boxes getting listed, more selling every single week. The cycle's continuing, boxes are going up. I don't think we're going to see a crazy spike here in the short term, which I kind of expected it to maybe be moving a little bit faster than it is right now, but still good signs. Boxes are flowing, prices are slowly going up. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you did get some value out of this content, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. Stay safe wherever you guys are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.